Wealth inequality is not the same as income inequality and inflation theft, based on the free Substack post written by BowTiedBull.
Welcome, Avatar. One of the major issues with the BTB way of writing is that it assumes most people have taken statistical courses and economics courses. This is the case for the vast majority of the subscriber base. Instead of using statistics, in this video we will use basic math to explain why the system you are in is screwing you. Yes, you, the person watching this video. You are being screwed by no fault of your own. Now that we've made a pretty bold claim, we'll go ahead and explain it in a way that anyone can understand. If you make under $500,000 a year in a W-2, this 100% applies to you. You're being pushed into the slave class, also known as the grasshopper-eating class, at a rapid rate. As usual, let's get started.
Part 1. You are being tricked to fight amongst yourselves.
Step 1. Current World 2020. Some basic stuff. In 2020, as a rough proxy, the typical family made $60,000 pre-tax. The top 1% made about $500,000 pre-tax. Mathematically, this means there is a difference of 8.3 times. The 1% makes 8 times more money than the average American. The average household has around $100,000 to $200,000 in net worth. For fun, we'll go ahead and take the high end to make the comparison difficult. How about the top 1%? The net worth is roughly $11 million post-tax. That's another thing people forget: wealth is post-tax money. Mathematically, this means the difference is 55 times. The 1% is 55 times more wealthy than the average American. Step 2. Increase the amount of dollars by 40%. Okay, so we have a massive pandemic and the solution is to print money. We print 40% of all US dollars and hand it out to people. While this is not a perfect 1-to-1 ratio, it is a good proxy. If the average price of a home is $200,000, if you print 40% of the supply, the average price should go to $280,000. Here is the problem. If the prices of assets go up by 40%, doesn't this mean the wealth of everyone goes up by roughly 40%? Yes, it does. The S&P 500 is up around 33% over the last year, and homes are up roughly 30%. Therefore, the top 1% just got a lot richer. A lot. Yes, stocks are correlated to money printing. Step 3. Return to the spreadsheet. Since wages did not go up by 30%, in fact many people were down or flat, we'll just use no change as the baseline. If you look at the numbers, this means when the dust is settled, it will look like this. $60,000 will be the average income, and the average wealth will be $280,000, which is a 40% increase. $500,000 will be the income of the average 1%, and the average 1% wealth will be $15.4 million. On paper, this looks okay, because the average wealth difference is still 55 times, just like before. The problem? How do you catch up? Here is the final and most important part of the equation. If you look at the numbers, how does someone get into the 1% if the earnings did not go up? Run the numbers. Say you are a star in the making, and you can make it to the top 1% of income earners. We will even say that you can somehow avoid all taxes, which is likely impossible, but we'll have some fun with it. If you start with a $0 net worth and earn $500,000 per year, you could catch up in 22.0 years back in 2020. Now that 40% of the money has been printed, you have to work 30.8 years. That is an 8.8-year difference. Now, do you see why wealthy elites would like to raise taxes on wages? It doesn't matter to them. If you raise the taxes on the guys or girls earning income, all this does is make the wealth disparity larger and larger and larger. Notice, we didn't even include the fact that the person with the $15 million is earning $600,000 a year on assumed returns of just 4%. In short, if you are earning $500,000 a year and someone else now has $15,400,000, and is earning $600,000, which is 20% more than you. How do you think you're going to catch up? It certainly isn't by earning money. Your only hope is equity. Step 4. Wake up. We get it. If you were born lower middle income, you think $500,000 a year is a lot of money. It is. However, the wealthy do not care about income. They care about wealth disparity. The higher the taxes go on earned income, the more it separates the rich and the poor. You can raise the taxes on all earned wages to 80 to 90%, and the wealthy will not care one bit. They don't have earnings anyway. Which is the topic for Part 2.
Part 2. Inflation is theft, wealth transfer.
Now you are probably asking yourself, why in the world don't wages go up by 40%? The answer is incentives and competition. We live in a world rife with inefficiencies. We learned with COVID-19 that a ton of jobs and tasks can be automated. Virtual meetings work perfectly well the vast majority of the time. The middle management layer isn't needed, and any repetitive task can be completed by software and new technologies. Put your business cap on. You run a business. We can call it an online t-shirt store for fun. It's quite large and you make $10 million per year in revenue and $1 million per year in profit. You find out that your costs will go up by $1 million next year due to inflation. Well, what do? If you do nothing, you will receive $0 in income next year. In the end, you have to do what is best for your company and your family. You use new technology and start replacing every single inefficiency, one by one. You monitor employees' output. You look for robots to manufacture your goods. You look for new people to produce your goods, etc. In the end, you find that you can automate a few jobs. After a full review, your costs went up by $100,000. You raise prices slightly to make sure you're back to $1 million in profit. In the end, you have a 10% increase in prices and flat income year over year. You might say this is unfair. Unfortunately, life isn't fair. If the t-shirt owner didn't make the adjustments, he is going to go broke. All of his employees are gone. His family suffers. Everyone suffers. By making these changes, his business is alive. He has some employees who get to feed their families, and he can wait out the storm. Now some of you may wonder, what if he simply tried to raise prices by the full amount? Another competitor would make cost reductions and put him into the red within 12 months. Do you see the theft? By printing an enormous amount of money, all you've done is shift more money to the business owner and away from regular workers. The business owner is flat. However, the employees he had to cut are now earning $0 per year. There is absolutely nothing he could do to prevent this. Once the money printer hit and prices went up, it was time to reorganize or go out of business. In short, increasing prices just causes businesses to reduce headcount so they can remain competitive.
Part 3. Fixing the tax.
Okay, what should we do about it? There are numerous avenues and none of these are perfect. However, we'll highlight 3 that make a lot more logical sense versus what is being done today. Oh, and don't worry, we give this a 0% chance of happening. It's more of a fun explainer of what the real issue is. Step 1. No lending to owner. One of the biggest loopholes is as follows. You set your company up in Dubai or another tax haven. You pay yourself a fake salary of say $100,000. Instead of paying yourself a salary, you borrow money from the company at 0% interest. Since you've taken a loan from the company, it is not taxable. Think this doesn't happen? It happens all the time and in a big way. Make loans taxable if you own the entity. One crazy loophole closed. If you loan yourself balance sheet cash from a company that is owned 100% by you, it should be considered a salary. Currently, it's completely tax-free. Step 2. A tiny asset tax. This is going to make a lot of people mad. Especially the big-time capitalists. They need to come up with a small asset tax, above some sort of number. call it $1 billion. If you own $1 billion of a single stock, you have to sell say 1% of it once a year and give that to your lowest paid employees. What? Nice sudden change versus bringing in the government, no? This way the low-paid employees participate in some of the upsides from the success of the company, and if they get cut or fired they still own some of the firm. There is just no way that restaurant companies should have higher valuations in 2020 compared to 2019. It makes no sense and everyone knows it. They were printed into higher valuations. An alternative is to have a small annual tax for billionaires only, that is distributed in some form of universal basic living. The plan to tax on billionaires' unrealized investment gains doesn't make sense. We learned in 2020 how bad that could get. If you had unrealized gains in 2019 and suddenly your business tanks, how would you pay the tax? As a quick note, if you have better ideas for this, feel free to share your thoughts. Step 3. Reduce tax rate on low income and increase corporate tax rate. Assuming that no one will agree to this, then we should simply raise the standard deduction and increase the high-end corporate tax rate. Once again, the problem is not your buddy who makes $500,000 at XYZ company or the small business that does $3 million a year in net income. It is the trillion-dollar companies. These companies cause the most wealth disparity, so you have to find a way to change the tax rate here. We really doubt that Apple or Facebook will change how they operate if the tax rate goes up by 1%. Yet that would be enormous in terms of dollars for the lower working class. Don't worry, BTB is still ultra-capitalist. In the end, it's not likely any of this stuff happens. The media does a great job of getting everyone focused on high-earning families and individuals. They purposely turn a blind eye to the real issue, which is billionaire tax shelters, loans, and asset inflation. Why? The media is run by a billionaire. They are not there to tell you how it really works. The good news? On a final positive note, 2021 is still the greatest time to be alive. Cryptocurrency is solving a large chunk of these issues in real time. Intermediaries simply sit in the flow of money, and that rent extraction is moving to digital currencies. Therefore, we don't even care about the prior 3 steps. They were just there to tell you the real issue, which is wealth disparity and not income disparity. Instead of fighting all of these loopholes, remember that no one is coming to save you. Not your boss, not your family, and not your country. Save yourself by playing the game correctly. The game is won by creating digital income and investing in high-quality technology firms and cryptocurrencies. This way your income can be moved to a more tax-friendly state or country. This is what the wealthy are doing, so you should do it too. Best of luck. And please, do not try to eat your own by going after an income tax. They are laughing at you.